you are going to be on video. That's something that you will do every time that we come to some of our events, because we do like to record the content. Education is really important to us. So I'm just going to give Daniel a couple minutes here. Make sure that you grab something to eat, something to drink. I hope you guys are all cooled off. If you don't have a index card yet, grab one. They're up there on the counter. There's also some pens and pencils. If you didn't see our little video, this is an interactive networking event. And I'll explain in just a little bit what that exactly means. But in other words, we want you to actually take away from this event. We want you to have a takeaway, and we want you to meet somebody and take action on somebody that you've met today. So we'll go ahead, and after Daniel gives us the thumbs up that we are started, I'm going to go ahead and can somebody pass me?
iPad. Good. Check, 1, 2. Good evening, everyone. Hope you guys are doing great. Look at this beautiful place we have. Thank you for the Canales family to lend us this location.
Yes, so they've actually been hosting us for the last 6 weeks. And so for those that don't know, this is kind of a culmination of a 6-week program.
So is this the 6th location you've been to?
This is actually the 7th.
7th one.
Yes. So this is the 7th. We did a summer series. We started a summer series. So everybody give it up for Lupita Canales. She is our great.
Gracias.
So the Trusted Advisor series, if you see on the screen there, we actually started this about now, I guess, 7 weeks ago with Lupita and her wonderful team and a couple of our wonderful supporters. And the idea was to help professionals move from being just a salesperson in the eyes maybe of their clients in the community to being a trusted advisor. And so the series is actually becoming a trusted advisor. And so this last one is actually in the evening. So we were doing it as classroom style in the different Canales furnitures. And so this one, towards the end, we're going to actually give away certificates. So if you are here and you attended all of the 6 events or watch some of the ones online, if you can please stand up so we can acknowledge you. Rebecca?
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I want to make a quick introduction. So this summit, it's our inaugural summit that we're kicking off here at Canales Furniture. But the RE Connection Summit, basically it's supposed to be a ripple effect. It's supposed to be a ripple effect of the information that you received here for you to take action on. And not only to take action on the information and the education, but the people that are in the room. How many times have you gone to a networking event and left with a stack of business cards and forgot to follow up with the people? Thank you for raising your hand and being honest. And so we're hoping today to actually get some communication going on while you're actually here in the room. So that's what RE Connection Summit is about. This is a collaboration with My Homeownership Academy. We are brokered by eXp Realty, which is how I know Daniel and his awesome team. And so these are some of our supporters. Definitely give it up for them. A round of applause to Canales Furniture, Alcova Mortgage, Industrial On-Site Services, and Bryce Law and Title Firm. And I won't go too much about this, but if you want to take a screenshot, if you're interested in some of the stuff that we do as My Homeownership Academy, we do professional development for not only real estate professionals, but we really want to include everybody in our industry, not just realtors. And then we also help our community succeed by education. And so this is some of the content that we actually put out there in the community. If you are somebody who wants to know a little bit more about that and how we partner with folks like Daniel to be able to bring that information, let us know. Get with us afterwards. Okay, so enough about what we're here for. Let's get right into it. And our special guest, Daniel Ang. I've had the pleasure of knowing Daniel for a little bit here, and every time I meet him and see him, I'm just more impressed with the community and just his heart of servitude. So, Daniel, give us the quick 1-2 minute intro on you.
Yeah, native Dallas, Texan, so 4th generation Chinese. My great-grandfather came to this country in the late 1800s due to the railroads, so He would send money back. I think he would get married, and then I do have roots in China and Hong Kong. My father's from Hong Kong originally, came to this country in 1956, came to Dallas in the mid 70s. So I was born here and went off to college in Europe, studied banking and finance in Switzerland, came back in 2001, and from there just really started my real estate journey. Well, before that, right after high school, I did get my real estate license. I mean, I was 18, going to classes during my summer trip, my summer months before going off to Europe. But knowing that I wanted to do real estate. So I came back in '01, and from there just continued to grow my network and just really take care of the family business first. It was really when, my father had a major stroke in '06. First marriage was failing in '07. Financial crisis '08. So you can imagine I was depressed in around that '08 time. But then because your surrounding is really important. I had another friend in the commercial industry. He was doing actually industrial properties, and it was a bad time. And there was a class called CCIM. It's a Certified Commercial Investment Member. And my friend said, "Hey, let's take some classes. Market's really just bad. Let's connect with more people." So I said, "Sure, I'll do anything." Went to those classes, met a lot of great people. So for you guys to connect is really important. So I learned that later on in my career. Probably about 10 years in, but really. Connecting from there, and then from there just building relationships that led me to where I am today. So success is not easy, but at the same time it's a journey, and everyone has a chapter, right? We're all writing our book, and it doesn't end. So just continue to write your chapter, connect with more people, because you never know. Because I think you'll see me doing a lot of video stuff. I actually met my wife later on because I took my business partners. Well, at that time he was my friend. I took his wedding pictures just for fun, and that's how I met my wife later on. So that's so just by serving and helping, you never know.
Wow, that's a really cool story. I mean, talk about a ripple effect. They have children to prove it, right? That's really cool. But did you guys pick up on? He's actually commercial real estate. So raise your hand in here if you are a residential realtor or in residential real estate. There's a couple of us. Okay, great. Raise your hand if you're in commercial real estate. Okay, there's a couple of us in commercial real estate as well. So for those of us in the residential real estate, we know that commercial guys sometimes don't play nice in the sandbox with us.
Yeah, it's different. We're a different beast, I guess. But if you look at traditionally, if you look at residential, predominantly it's a more female-based, industry. But if you look at commercial, it's more male-dominant. It's changing. Things have changed. But sometimes even as an Asian American, it was tough to get in the business, and I can't imagine my father being in the business the same way. But things are changing, and main thing is connection, right? It's a people business. Even with AI happening, you leverage AI, but it's a people business. It's a connection. Commercial, same way. I think just finding the right commercial person to work with, collaborate with. Not all of them will collaborate. It's just that's just the industry right now. Like I said, it is changing. There are those that want to help out, and there's a good handful of us that are teaching a lot of residential agents how to get to commercial. And we have a term called resi-mercial. So you have agents who do both, because you have clients. Guess what? They're buying a house, they have a business, and they have a commercial. So there's going to be a path, right? And so just don't look at that as don't take it on yourself. If you're going to do a commercial deal, make sure you partner up with somebody. Just like when you first started in this real estate industry, you probably joined a team, you had a mentor, things like that. Same thing with commercial, and it's going to take more time because guess what? Your license when you got it was all residential contracts, had nothing to do with commercial. So if you're really serious about commercial real estate, do get commercial education. If you're a realtor, the Texas Association of Realtor has a designation. That's just a foundation. At least get that going, and then from there you can always take more courses throughout your career.
And so it's interesting because you technically have not done residential, but you still do resi-mercial, right? And so what I really liked that Daniel shared, and maybe we can go into this a little bit deeper, for the reasoning behind the resi-mercial merger. Because at one time you thought, I don't want anything to do with residential.
Yeah, so, I mean, since 2001, after I graduated, almost all the way to 2000 and 2011 until I met my two residential partners at Keller Williams. We started a team. They were on the residential side. I was the commercial partner. And then when I was in that environment, I realized I was getting referral deals and I could send referrals out. And I didn't. I would say no to every single residential deal. That someone asked me, "Hey, do you do residential?" I was like, "Oh no." But then when I realized that every no was a referral fee of 25% to 30%, more or less, right? So that caught on, and then I started building a team on the residential side. We later on formed a residential real estate company, and then we later on franchised that company. And I had a commercial company. I franchised that commercial company. So I was running two sets of companies at the same time, and the agents would refer deals back and forth. So from coming from those two backgrounds and then coming to a new platform about 5.5 years ago, I was able to merge everything together to create, what we're doing, Resi-Mercial.
Resi-Mercial, which, I mean, you were already in those spaces. Like, that's what I want you guys to look at. You were already in these spaces. You were already walking the walk, as they say. It was just having a different conversation and just opening up your idea of where can you connect to, increase your revenue. And so you don't have to give us numbers, but, if you hadn't made that connection, that jump from opening your mindset, how did that affect you now and the income that you're able?
I mean, right now, a lot of people call me because they know I'm in Texas. So branding and marketing yourself where you're at is important. And being in a platform that's global, people call you. So I have a call tomorrow with a person from Guatemala where they're moving families over to the U.S. to Texas, and it may not be in Dallas. And guess what? If they want to say, "Hey, I want to go to Houston," well, guess what? I got a partner in Houston. I'm going to send it over there. So I'll split that referral with my other partner out there. But it's a lead, right? So be a lead generation source than just a transactional agent. Because at the end of the day, what do brokers do? They have a team and they're funneling leads. So you can do that right away. So think a little bit outside the box. Generate leads so you can send them off to other people around the country. And they don't even have to be in the same company because our license, legally, you can send a referral fee to Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, or Independent. It doesn't matter. As long as you're licensed, you can send that lead and just making another friend. And guess what? You sending a lead over, they're going to always be grateful for you. And then that will come back one of these days when somebody moves to Dallas or DFW.
Exactly. And
I forgot I'm on the Tarrant County side. I got to be careful. Got to be careful over here.
That's true. After you cross that line, I know it's
I'm
close.
in Plano, so we don't go past 635. The people in Dallas don't go past 635.
So what he's saying is we are honored to have his presence. So this is where it gets a little fun, you guys. So we're going to talk a little bit about, what Daniel was just talking about, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear, how are these referrals, how have you gotten referrals from other professionals, from other people in our industry, from other people across states? And we have these awesome little goodie bags that Grice Law and Title has provided for us. So you get to get a little prize if you participate. So tell us, quick story. We just want like a 1 minute kind of story on how you have actually been able to connect on a deeper level with a professional and get some referrals. Anybody want to share? Oh no, I think we need some sugar in the room. Okay, there we go. We have a brave person here.
My name is Anna Diaz, everyone. Hello. I just came from New Jersey. From New Jersey, I went to Arkansas. Stayed in Arkansas for like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
I got bored quickly. My brain just started deteriorating. So I started driving one day and never stopped until I reached here without a suitcase, nothing.
Wow.
Got here and met up with some of my friends that I've known for 13 years. They set me up with Conrad. I don't know if you all are familiar with Conrad. He's a very big person who networks all the time. So I've been with Conrad for all these months now, and right now, all of my leads were because of that leap of faith, of not being scared. Just go. Get what you want, how you want it, and the leads will come. They will come.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And we're going to give you one of our little goodie bags here.
That East Coast toughness right there.
Let's give her a round of applause for being very brave and sharing. I saw another hand come up. Who wanted to share?
Anybody there? Oh.
Okay, on my referral, I would say I worked in a credit restoration a couple of years back. So I've stayed friends with, I've partnered up with old friends, and same thing. They establish the credit, build it up, and they're ready to buy a house. They'll send them over to me.
I'm so sorry. No, that's awesome. Using these past businesses and the past things that we've done are different things. Daisy, all right. And everybody wants a little goodie bag now. All right.
I would like to talk about my experience going to the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. I'm not sure if you are familiar with it, but I met Imelda here. Is she here today? No? Okay. So I met Imelda there. She is a mortgage representative, and then she introduced me to Rebecca. And then Rebecca introduced me to Daniel. So it is definitely a rippling effect. So just go out and network, talk, doesn't matter, meet new people.
And I met Daisy's husband. We're helping because they're in the HVAC business, and they help. We had an emergency. I just got back in town from Hong Kong, and one of my properties had a AC issue. And typically in retail, the tenant's responsible, but this happened to be an office unit, and in the lease, landlord would cover that. So usually I don't get into the tenants' AC units, but this one I had to. And my other AC guy wasn't in town, so it was perfect timing. So they helped us, and then just building that relationship, and then learning more about AC units on the commercial end, because I've had a guy for a long time, but at the same time they never were as thorough on the units, and just like how to maintain, and then teaching and then getting that service contract hopefully for maintaining that unit. I mean, there's always a connection. That's really what I'm trying to say.
I love it. Well, and what's interesting is what Daisy didn't mention and what she didn't know is that I always tell people, because this is true, when I have a need of something and I'm out there networking, I let them know. If you come across a person that blank, and I had actually met Daisy previously because I had told Imelda I need an HVAC person, right? And so what the first thing I want you guys to do with your little card, now that we've shared our stories, I want you to write two things down. There's two names. Number one, think of a person that you met that created a ripple effect that you want to go back and thank. Gratitude is probably one of the biggest ways to connect with people on a deeper level, and we don't think about that. We don't think about going back and giving gratitude to those people that have impacted our lives, and sharing that ripple effect. And you don't know where that little drop, that little gotita, is going to start again to create another ripple effect. Okay, so put number one in your little card. This is I did it this size, you guys, so that you men can put it in your wallet, because I know how you are, and you will leave a big piece of paper behind. So this is specifically for you guys to actually take this and act on it. So number one's going to be somebody that you want to thank for creating a ripple effect in your life that maybe they don't know that they created. That's number one. Number two is think about a person that's in need right now, and it doesn't have to be a financial need or a health need, a prayer need, an encouragement need. They just got into this industry need. Maybe you don't know their need, right? And it's somebody that's being put into your heart right now to contact them. That's number two. Who are you going to contact and say, hey, I was thinking about you. How can I help you? What do you need? I'm a faith believer. Can I pray with you? Can I connect you with somebody? Do you want to go out to coffee, right? You take it as far as you want to go, but that's the second thing. Okay, so we talked a little bit about connection, and some of you don't know, but Daniel is actually, they refer to him as El Chino Loco.
Chino Loco, that's right.
And it's fun because what I love about Daniel is his community, the community that he's built called the Panda Pack. It's very diverse. And I see some of the folks here from the Panda Pack. And one of the things that I love about what Daniel does, it's intentional to build a community. So Daniel, talk to us a little bit about the coffees and the potlucks and some of the other things that you've created throughout the years.
Yeah, so I mean, when I pivoted to a new platform like EXP, it made me realize, and learning from these other leaders, because these other leaders have thousands of people in their organization. And I'm like, I had my own franchise. I had 2 franchises before. How could they get there? And the one common denominator was community and culture. And, what they were, and, the Panda Pack came out because there's a group called the Wolf Pack, and there's the Honey Badgers. They had all these animal names. And, back then at the Asian Real Estate Association, they always called me the Panda. So I might as well make a pack out of it. So that's I can't go to a commercial broker and say, hey, join the Panda Pack. But internally, that's what we're called. But we do have a network name called We Partners Network, where it is a partnership that we do life together, that we do community together, and the goal is to create legacy and build a financial wealth together, and just being financially free. But really, the legacy component, because we can pass this to the next generation, and that's why we're training people how to be an entrepreneur. We're training people how to do public speaking. Just get out your comfort zone, learning your DISC profile, your personality. How do you negotiate with somebody? Because you might talk to an engineer and you're a very high I. They need more numbers and just the more data to back that up. And if you're not that person, guess what? Find a business partner to come in and help you with that.
So tell us a little bit. It was I think it was Tuesday night was your potluck.
Yes.
So a Tuesday he has a potluck, and so you do a lot of the stuff which I love. I'm a foodie. Is surrounded by food.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically a lot of agents or even brokerages, they'll get a sponsor, right? And they want the sponsor to pay for everything. But, but then at the same time, it's not really a partnership unless the agents are giving business over, right? So really, I like the potluck because everyone's bringing to the table. Yes, if they want ribeye or lobster, sometimes we'll get a sponsor for that. And I'll cook those things for the team. But the potluck is, everyone is a business partner bringing value to the table. Yes, we got carrot sticks and things like that. But the idea of a potluck is like, hey, bring the pot roast, bring the ribeye, bring that mentality over, bring value. Even if you're brand new in real estate, there's a lot of value you can still bring because you had a lot of experience. And if you're young, you got that energy to bring over, right? Help me with the ice. Go get stuff. I mean, there's so many things that people can bring, but so a lot of agents or even people feel like, well, I'm brand new, I don't know what to do, but you got to get them thinking, and But community and building this, and the reason why you have a community, because culture will trump any kind of mindset in a person, because people want to be connected. We're human, right? We're born to be connected. So not everyone is a high I. I'm a high I. Some people like their quietness, but the people that are quiet and things like that, you still want a connection. You don't need 100 people. You might need the 2 or 3, and that's the 2 or 3 you want to be connected. I want you to find your running partner.
There you go. I love that. Find your running partner. And, some people, high I as well, right? I love big groups. But the point that I wanted to have Daniel share this is because he didn't go out and say, this is only for realtors and we have this specific thing that we're doing as realtors and we're only learning this one thing. It was literally food and community, and we had such great conversations. I think after the pandemic, a lot of people forgot about that. They thought that, Zoom and just attending things on Zoom was the way to go. And so I just want to encourage you guys, if you don't have a community that you're plugging into, even as Daniel said, even if it's 2 or 3 people that meet up once a month to connect, how are you creating, if you're not plugged into a ripple effect system, are you creating your own? And so I would love for you guys to think about that. And if anybody has any really neat ideas in the audience here that you're already doing or you would want to do, raise your hand. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, just a couple other quick questions. And actually, I'm going to take a moment. Does anybody have any questions in the audience for Daniel? No, quiet audience today. Okay, so one of the things that people really, get anxious about in doing these events is that they have to have all this elaborate stuff. Give us like 3 quick tips on doing an event. If you're going to do an event, you need to do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, I had a guy call me from California yesterday because I posted something online, and he was like, "Man, I do a lot of production. What do you do, Daniel?" And I said, "I just do barbecue events, and I just cook for the team, and it's, You put it on Eventbrite, other people invite you. I mean, yeah, my fear is always not enough food, right? But don't overthink it. Be consistent. I think really that's the main thing. I do a coffee event up in Plano every Friday. I'm not even paying for coffee. Everyone's buying their own coffee, so it doesn't cost anything. And what I tell people is like, hey, this is not my event. So if you want to create your own flyer, so I have some lenders. I said, create your own flyer, invite people. It's from 8:30 to 10. Just put your logo, put your face on there, invite people, and that's all it is. So like so instead of having just our events, create it where it's our events, and everyone can participate. Everyone can market themselves, invite people, and I think that's the easiest thing, and that can be done globally. So imagine a coffee event that anybody can participate, invite, and have their own flyer. It'll confuse everybody, but it's okay because guess what? I've had people come in from Dubai that saw it on Eventbrite. I had people from Mexico. He was an architect. He was a subcontractor for another architect firm here, and basically, which I found out is these companies in the U.S. will sub it out to Mexico. They do all the work, and then they send it back, and they just stamp it. And they charge us arm and a leg for that. So then I had a direct resource in Mexico, and because they're licensed, they have a partner here that will sign off. That's an inexpensive way to get drawings done now. But just because of that, so that's just one small example. But I think being consistent. I like the weekly coffee events in the morning because I think anyone that comes at 8:30 in the morning for coffee just to make a connection, they're pretty serious.
Yeah.
Versus a happy hour, right? Happy hours are everywhere, but coffee, I think, in the morning is dedicated where they plan their day, and they still have the rest of the work day. You can come 30 minutes and get off to work, So yeah. So I do one at the local Good Coffee. My church at Chase Oaks built a coffee shop. It's kind of like this size. It's like you guys can do a coffee event here. But you can do it in the Tarrant County. You can do one in Fort Worth. I think anyone can do these things, and that's just a start. If you do want to go to the next level, for me is because I have about 400 people in my group now. So having people come for food is really good because for me, I like to see. I like to feed everyone, and I think I get that from my father. Because my dad would cook every Sunday for church and feed everyone, and this is my way of doing it. And I'm feeding my team that way.
I love that though because you're feeding not only their stomachs but you're feeding their souls.
Correct.
I love it. Okay, well let's go ahead and wrap it up. Does anybody have any other questions for Daniel? All right, well let's go ahead and give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
So as we get ready, I'm going to have April and Tabitha. You can go ahead and get up here and get ready. And I'm going to sit over here. So really quick, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. And I want you to just tell me your name, who you're with, and what location you're in. So that way, if there's somebody in the room that wants to connect with you. So I'm going to go these 3, 4, 5 people really quick, okay? Name, who you're with, and what you do, where you're from. Okay?
Rebecca Chanez, eXp Realty, and I'm in North Garland area.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sheba Morgan, mortgage broker with NXT, and I'm in Frisco, but I serve Texas.
Hi, everyone. I'm Noelle Bowen. I'm with Compass, and I serve South Lake.
Anna Diaz. I am just starting my LLC. I got it last week, so I have a lot of real estate mindsets that I could actually help other people. I'm actually a consultant, so yeah, I could help a lot of people.
Tyree Ransom, David Alway, CPA, and I'm in the Grand Prairie, Texas area.
Thank you so much. And y'all get ready. I'm coming to you next. Okay, so I'm going to introduce, and I'm going to get your guys' little... so I'm going to introduce Tabitha and April and let them kind of do their thing. Not their little thing. It's a big thing, you guys. But they are with Bryce Law and Title, but they have a podcast that they do, and it's called The Morning Buzz. and it's a lot of fun. So without further ado, if you want to give Tabitha and April a round of applause.
Hello. Testing. Okay.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Again, my name is Tabitha, and this is April. We started this little podcast 5 years ago, I think, and it was simply just to provide education, give stories about everything that we do in title, because we fix a lot of messes. And so anyway, so basically what sounds simple is sometimes very complicated. And so we're just going to talk about title and ownership. We wrote it down because if you know us, we're very long-winded and we only have 10 minutes. And so we needed to stick to the script.
Yes, I'm going to say real quick, just our office is in Colleyville. We service the state of Texas, fully practicing business and real estate law firm. And then I specialize in commercial closings and our commercial division. And Tabitha is bilingual and specializes in residential. We have multiple escrow officers on our team, but we are the head of that. So we would love an opportunity to meet with you. And discuss further how we can, just to go in line with Daniel, we believe that the relationship comes first and the business follows. So even if it's a deal that we're not closing, that's okay. You have a question, you have a problem, we are problem solvers. If there's a way it can be done, we will know it. So just putting that out there. Okay.
We want to close your transaction.
Oh, well, we want to build the relationship first, and then we want to close your transactions because you trust us. But anyway, join us on the Morning Buzz. It's every Monday morning. We live stream on our social medias. That podcast gets anywhere from 2,500 to 4,500 hits a week. We give away $50 every Monday just for liking and sharing our live. And then in December every year for our Grice Gives Back, we host it in front of a live studio audience. And last year it was incredible. Come be a part of it. We blessed multiple families, multiple school districts, inner city schools, in Tarrant County, Daniel, but we don't mind coming to Dallas County. If there's a need, we will meet it.
This year it'll be on Monday, December 7th at 10:30.
That'll be our live studio audience. We felt like Oprah last year. Everybody gets one. So come be a part. Check our socials. You'll see the announcement. Okay. Well, today we're going to talk about one thing that we wish every homeowner, every real estate agent, and honestly anybody who owns real estate understood. And that is that title does not automatically pass. It doesn't automatically pass because you got divorced. It doesn't automatically pass because your spouse died. And honestly, every family who agrees that someone should own the property upon that person's death, these are things that we hear regularly. Well,
that's not the case. For
Papa
example,
told me, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things is divorce and title, right? So let's start with the divorce because I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. A husband and a wife get divorced, and the divorce decree says that the wife gets the house. So what happens, April?
Well, she potentially owns it, but we have to address title. So when you get a divorce, your attorney is going to obviously... Hopefully you're represented. Your attorneys are going to decide who owns the property. The divorce decree is going to identify that. But there is specific language that needs to be in the divorce decree. And or there should be a deed, a warrant deed that's filed in the public record signed from spouse who's awarded the property versus spouse who's not awarded the property. And that happens all the time. How often would you say that happens?
Probably 90% of the time. And if the divorce has to be very specific. So in the decree, it has to have the legal description of the property that is being awarded to the spouse. If a deed is not signed at the time of the divorce, then the alternative is we have to contact the ex, which a lot of our clients don't want to even mess with their spouse. But the alternative to that is the only option is as long as that divorce decree was prepared correctly and they did include the property address and the legal description within that decree, we can pull a certified copy of that divorce decree from the family court records, and then we have to file it in the real property records. But with that, it does allow everyone, anybody that can pull any real property records can see everything that divorce decree has. So what we do try to omit or we do, is, or we redact, I guess is the word, is social security numbers, any
Children's names.
yeah, so any personal identification, we redact and then record it. But if you don't want people to know your business, then we need to get a deed.
Happens all the time. You don't want to wait. So for my real estate agents in the room, and you're representing somebody who maybe is going through a divorce, or you know they're going to get a divorce and that's why you're selling the house, like there's a little tip for you to tell them. Make sure you get a deed signed, because for whatever reason, 5-10 years down the road, you don't want to track down your ex-spouse and try to correct what wasn't done originally.
So another thing that we see pretty often is, what about property owned before marriage? Let's say I buy a house when I'm single, it's in my name, then I get married. Years later, my husband and I separate, and I say, well, that was my house. I bought it before I was married.
So this is where it gets complicated. This is something we hear regularly as well. But Texas is a community property state, for those who don't know. And the characterization of a property can become much more complicated than simply looking at when it was purchased. So if you're entering into a marriage, or your clients are getting married, happy newlyweds coming to you, maybe they're about to get married, they want to buy a house, this is a conversation you want to have. Because if you own several assets, let's say you own several properties, you're marrying the man or woman of your dreams, everything's peaches and rainbows and nothing could ever go awry. Just a little advice, like maybe consider a prenup. Let's identify sole and separate property, because once you get married, particularly your homestead, that is no longer sole and separate property no matter when it was purchased, because Texas is a community property state.
One of the other things that we see pretty often is husband and wife own a house. Husband passes away. The wife comes and says, I'm his wife. It's my house. Well,
and ultimately, the surviving spouse will have an interest in the property, but there are a lot of factors that play into that. Just because that was your spouse doesn't mean that, and y'all owned it 50-50, that 50%, your husband's interest, does not go to you directly unless there was some estate planning, obviously. Maybe y'all had children outside of y'all's marriage together. They are heirs at law. And we can get into a whole conversation about heirship. But just because your spouse dies doesn't mean the property is awarded to the surviving spouse. We have to identify the heirs at law. If you are married to each other and you've only ever had children together, your heirs at law, it would go to your surviving spouse. But if there are children outside of that marriage, now they are entitled
there's a
as well.
date that I think the laws changed, or the probate laws changed in 1993. So before 1993, that didn't apply. But after 1993, then that's when, if you have children within that same marriage, then yes, title conveys. And we do get quite often people upset with us because they think that, title automatically passes to them. But anytime anybody passes, their interest does have to be addressed, no matter what. Let's see, what else, April?
Okay, something common. You follow my notes because I got carried away, Tabitha. I'm sorry. Something common that we hear a lot when we're identifying heirs is, that was my stepdaughter. I'd never even met her over the time that we were married. She hadn't have anything to do with my spouse. She doesn't get anything. And I don't want you to call that child. I don't even know how to call that child. That we still have to involve it. Just because there isn't a relationship there is inheritance, and we have to establish who the heirs at law are. Yes.
Bring up a good subject because I work with clients for home insurance, and I get a lot of clients. Thank you. I get a lot of clients that put their home under a trust. So, is a trust or will the best way to navigate that?
It's a great question, and we are about to get to that. We're going to tell you how to avoid these things and how to best direct your clients to avoid these things. Trusts are a good option. And really, it just depends on what assets you want to put in the trust. The other option are transfer on death deeds. They're called TODs. They are revocable. You will file those now. So if you're married and you know that this was a spouse in later years and you have children outside of your marriage and you want to protect your real estate, you can file a transfer on death deed right now, and then you can revoke it before your death. But upon your death, that immediately transfers with the production of a death certificate. So those are options. Trusts are good options. That means you can avoid probate, you can avoid heirship, you can avoid the court, because the trust is its own entity. For those who don't know, a trust, it can be April, Tabitha, and then April and Tabitha's trust would be a third person sitting on this couch. It is its own entity, but it's operated by trustees. A trust can't hold real estate. The trustees of a trust can hold real estate. And then the contents of that trust then become the authority over whatever asset is in the trust. So if you're a trustee and your spouse is a co-trustee, then the authority for your spouse to act on your behalf becomes effective upon issuance of your death certificate. If something happens to you and your spouse, your substitute trustees will be whoever you appoint, your children, your siblings, your parents, like whoever you want to appoint is done within the trust. I say each scenario requires an evaluation, because some cases a TOD would be better, some cases a trust would be better. It's much less expensive to do a TOD than it is to do a trust, but a trust may be necessary depending on your assets.
I think a transfer on death deed, it's only going to be specific to your property, whereas a trust, if you have several accounts and things like that, and you need, your assets to be handled in that way, then that might be a better way to go.
And something to remember and point out is, just because you have a trust agreement drafted and it's sitting in your drawer or your safe, it's ineffective. You have to transfer your assets into the trust. So it comes full circle back to what we were talking about. There has to be a deed filed in the public record conveying your personal interest into the trustees of the trust for that trust to become effective. So it doesn't matter how the bottom line here is, it doesn't matter what agreement you had at grandma's table and everybody in the family knew about it, because I'm going to tell you one thing I'm for sure aware of that we've learned the hard way is, when there's death in families and there's money on the table, people tend to forget what grandma said at the table your whole lives. So
it can be for $500 or it could be for $200. They're not going to sign.
Exactly. So if you are advising your clients, for my agents, or if you have a family member, maybe your parents are older, maybe you have adult children who are about to get married, maybe your grandparents, have those conversations. I lost both of my parents. I have neither of my parents left. I do this for a living. Why did my parents not have, hello, April, so please learn from my mistake, have that conversation and ask the questions. We are happy. It doesn't matter if we're closing a deal or not. If you say, I have a question, I need to know what to do in this scenario. If we can't give you legal advice, our attorney, Ian Grice, will hop on the phone with you and we'll find a solution for you, because we would rather you know than don't know and it's too late.
Yes.
So yes, my question is much like in divorce, when you have a trust, if your trustees could potentially become unreliable in the future, or they have certain levels of power over your trust that you might feel is not appropriate at a time in the future, is there a way to ensure that certain trustees have less power within that trust? And then additionally, are trustees implied to be people who are benefiting from the trust, or are they just people who control the trust? So you can have a child who benefits, but is not a trustee.
Correct. And that's a good point. There are so the components of a trust will be trustee, co-trustee, if you choose, or there's one, substitute trustees. So in the event of the trustee's incapacity or death, or unwilling to serve. A trustee can be unwilling to serve. The trust defines that you then go to the successor trustees that's named in the trust. The beneficiaries can be different. I've seen a lot of trust agreements where their children were beneficiaries of the trust, but they were only 18 at the time and they didn't trust them with that amount of money. So you can, establish a date of payment in the trust. So maybe you once Tabitha turns 25, it was a long time ago, but once she turns 25, Yeah, or finishes college, whatever the case, however you want the component to be. And then to answer your question, you can amend a trust agreement. So you can amend it, you can amend a trust agreement, and then there is what's called okay, please let me preface this by saying, please do not go chat GPT a trust agreement and then rely on that. Like, it is important to have an attorney, especially when it comes to your assets. It's worth it to pay whatever fee to make sure it's protected and distributed the way you wish. But they're along with a trust agreement.
Any legal document, including power of attorneys, please.
Please, because you're going to try to use it, and then somebody like me or Tabitha is going to call and say, you can't use that. Like, there is statutory language that has to go in these documents to make them effective. But to answer your question, along with the trust agreement comes what's called a certification of trust. So if an amendment is made to a trust, a new certification is reported. So anybody who's going to rely on your trust, if you use a trust agreement or you come in my office to close and your real estate is invested in a trust, I'm then going to ask you for your trust agreement. And then I'm going to ask you for your certification, because I'm going to have to review it to make sure we have been given all of the information necessary to allow you to act on behalf of the trust.
And I'm not sure where we are on time, but I will open it up. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Yes.
While we're talking about the trust agreement, I want to know, how many houses do you recommend per trust? Do you recommend a one house per trust or up to 5? Like, what are you thinking?
I will tell you, you can put as many as you want. Trust agreements aren't cheap, let me say. So I wouldn't do. Now, if you're talking about a holding company, if somebody's creating an LLC or an entity, I always say do a series LLC. I'm not a lawyer. Please do not construe what I'm saying as legal advice. This is just my title experience. So let me just preface that before anybody gets me in trouble. A series LLC is important to hold assets in different entities, but a trust, you don't need a different trust for every property you own. In fact, I would put all of my assets in the same trust, really. That's what we would advise. I would say Ian would advise them to do. Holding it in an entity like a corporation, having a corporate veil protection over your assets is different than it being in a trust, because there are multiple layers of who can manage your trust. And a trust is an entity on its own. Any more questions? Yes.
So if there's, thank you. You mentioned death in the family. So let's say there is a house, husband, wife, kids. One of the spouses dies, accident, whatever it is. Years later, the spouse gets married. Years later. In that scenario, and they have a child. What happens with that house?
So when original spouse died, he was 50% owner with surviving spouse. Surviving spouse keeps her 50%. And now you said they only ever had children together? So
they had kids.
Together only?
Together.
Okay. So we would then do an heirship affidavit for original spouse. Because they only ever had children together, it has to be papered and filed in the public record, because why? Everything that conveys interest and title has to be filed in the public record. So we would have to paper it. We would have to have spouse death certificate. Requires 2 disinterested parties that knew the family for 10 years or more while the decedent was alive. Sign it, and that would convey interest directly to wife. So now wife from the first husband would have 100% title interest. Once she remarried, even if she owned the house prior to her marriage to new husband, he has a community property interest. So now he would be entitled to protect. And the reason Texas is a community property state is because if you spend marital assets, maybe you have a bank account, maybe husband has a great job and he said, hey, I'll pay the mortgage. If you divorce after he married you, moved into your home, whatever community property assets or community money was used to renovate, pay payments, build equity, they're entitled to be reimbursed for upon the divorce, even if they came into it knowing it was already owned by their spouse.
That's why we require them. We have another question over here.
For them to be reimbursed on what you just said right now, do they have to have proof that they invested money on it? Some type of proof?
I mean, somewhat. Like if they're saying I've made the payments, but a lot of times people have joint accounts. So you can just claim, hey, here, my paycheck's been direct deposited into our joint checking account for the past 20 years. And then also, like Tabitha said, that's why we're going to require the joinder of any spouse at any time execute a deed at closing. And also for community property interest, they are also awarded through community property interest a life estate. So that's a little tricky. They would have to be willing to deed over their life estate before you would be able to close on a closing because of their community property interest. So they're allowed to live there until they die unless they're willing to deed it over.
And our part of it is all we need in order to close it is as long as everybody agrees to the amounts that are going to be distributed. So even if one person owns 50%, if they're willing to take $10,000 and they sign an agreement stating, I'm only going to take $10,000, they can keep, the rest, we're good. All we need is everyone to agree to the amounts. Everyone signs off on the deed, and then we've fulfilled our obligation to make sure title is clear.
All right, one more question.
Yes.
Because I've had this happen a few times with my clients. Their mom passed away and they took over the house and they can't insure their home because they didn't have a trust. What is the turnaround if they did have a trust first? Because I know with my client, it took almost a year for them to get the house in their name. How quick is it whenever the house is in a trust and they have the authority to make changes?
That's a great question. So just for everybody's knowledge, a trust and a TOD, so a TOD is a transfer on death deed, they're effective immediately as soon as the death certificate is issued. I've had somebody pass away, the death certificate was issued 7 days later, they sold the house 12 days later. It's that quick. Probate takes a good 3 to 6 to maybe even 9 months, even longer, depending on the size of the estate. I would, if it were my choice and for my family, I would avoid wills and probates at all costs. It's just too time consuming. And oftentimes people don't have the assets to keep up with the property, maybe a mortgage payment, property taxes, maintenance, for as long as it takes to get a will probated. So that's why I love to talk about TODs and trust.
And I think we're out of time now, so I'm going to hand it over to Rebecca. But as always, we are Grice Law and Title firm. We're on the Morning Buzz every Monday morning, but you are always welcome to give us a call. Our business cards, we have them in here, so we'll make sure that you get our information. Thank you.
And my cell phone number is on my card, and I love to text.
And when is the Morning Buzz? Did you tell them when it's on?
Every Monday morning at 10:30.
Monday morning at 10:30. Yes. And so if you raise your hand if you enjoyed this information and actually learned something. Yes, exactly. So thank you, ladies, so much because you definitely want to think about wills and trusts and stay happy like our friend April's shirt here. Okay, so we're going back to our little index cards, you guys. So take out your index cards. I'm going to have you do two things. And Sherry, you're going to get ready to come up next. So on the other side of your index card, one of them you started writing names of people. On the other side of your index card, I want you to write down just really quickly something that you learned, either from Daniel or from April and Tabitha, something that you learned that you're going to go back and take action on. This is an action-oriented summit, right? We want you guys to take action. So something you're going to personally take action on the one side. Back on the other side where you wrote your names, I want you to write the name of the person that you're going to talk to about the information that you just learned. And if it's your own name, write your own name. Because I will tell you guys, I recently lost my godfather back in May, and it was very difficult because, like April said, I know this, I teach this, I live this stuff, and it's very difficult. And thank God we actually had somebody, a notary, come out and do the transfer on death deed and do some of these things just within a few hours of not being able to anymore. So it's really important that you guys think about who needs this information. And if it's you, write your name down. Okay, Sherry, I'm going to go ahead and have you go ahead and come up. Hey, you guys, we have what is it? Chairside service. Raise your hand if you want a margarita, and they're going to bring you one. Yes, we have hands coming up all over town. Okay, so we'll have them. Go ahead and bring them. Sherry, I'm going to have you sit on this side just because my stuff's over here. Yeah. I know, we have the best seats in the house. Our hair doesn't look great, but okay. So, is it on? Is this thing on?
Hello, do you hear me?
Test, test, test.
Hello, test.
Sounds good. All right, Sherry, I'm so excited for you to be here today because I know that we have kind of a mixed information out here, but one of the things the main thing that we're talking about is how to connect with people, right? Connecting with people, why it's important to be educated and to take this information back to the people that we're connected with. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about how do we connect with them visually. So tell us a little bit about you and your background.
My name is Cherry Burnish. I have an interior design degree from North Texas. I'm a Dallas Texan, grew up in Plano, went to college in North Texas. I have been repping for the past 35 years in the interior design world. Luckily, I get to work with Canales. We help with everything from wall decor, rugs, lighting, lamps, in a huge range. I do a lot of design business, hospitality business, everything that's right brain, pretty and creative. Actually, we would have hit it off great, but we're opposites in the world of right, left brain. So we wanted to talk a little bit about all kinds of questions you might have regarding interiors.
Yes, so I'm going to go ahead and start asking questions, and I love that you guys started asking questions of Tabitha and April, and so it's the same style. I think you guys are getting used to this style summit, so that's awesome. So Sherry, one of the things, especially for our real estate people in the room, and really just in general, professionals in general, what is something that we can do in order to make people feel welcome by the spaces? How does the visuals when we walk into the room matter?
And pretty much I'm focusing on residential real estate. You should walk into a room and feel welcome. It should be natural light. Turn the lamps on. We should have a decent seating area. Clean, fresh, crisp. From the residential real estate side, if you're working on walking into a home you're selling, it should be super welcoming. You should have fresh paint, maybe something green on the table, nice colors, but not over the top.
That's really good because, sometimes our sellers don't have a lot of money to make a place look nice. So what are some affordable options that we can actually spruce up? I like how you said plants or greenery. Tell us a little bit more about colors and why that matters.
Warm colors are very important now. Everything's a little bit warmer, a little bit less gray, more natural. Black and white, the Magnolia Home black and white is a little bit stark. Soften it just a little bit. Make that white a little creamier. Use more bronze, more chocolate instead of just black. If you're worried about your budget and you need to freshen up your home to sell it, declutter. Get all the junk out. Keep it real clean. Hang something on the wall, even if it's mirrors. Do a little collection of something.
I like the declutter. People forget that part. Tell us, as a designer, a little bit about the psychology of decluttering. I know we're going off script here a little bit, but it's important. I think it's an important topic.
It is. It's okay to have a collection. It's okay to have a beautiful wall of Majolica plates. It's okay to have curated collections, just not a bunch of junk. Your high school trophy shouldn't be in your house. Your Mother's Day presents that are wonderful are great, but all that shouldn't be out in a selling environment. Think about your best party. Clean the baseboards, keep it clean, no clutter.
So that's it. If they live in the home, tell us a little bit about if it's an empty space. What is the best things that we can add to a space to make it feel inviting? And especially working with professionals like Canales Furniture, like yourselves, what are the things that we should be more focused on?
Well, really, the great residential realtors that have been in business for a minute might have a little more opportunity to do a little staging. And with Canales, it's very affordable. Have someone you work with. Put a little bit of furniture in the room. Put a rug in the room. It could be as little as what we're looking at right here. Do something in the space to make it not cold and empty. I know things flip quickly depending on the neighborhood and what you're doing, but a little bit of staging goes a long way.
So if we were to let's focus about a little bit about the rooms, that we're focusing on. What are those go-to rooms? Those rooms, we talk a lot about feeling, connection. I loved how you said having a seating area.
I would focus on living space, master bedroom, maybe more than the kitchen even. Okay. Because I think a lot of kitchens are clean and crisp and can be open. You can have cookies out, call it a day, but do something in the master primary, do something in the living space. Make it where you can sit down and have a conversation.
Yes.
And if you can't do anything, then, just keep it clean. Not a bunch of funky wall colors, clean.
Yes.
It's interesting that you say you keep going back to seating area. You go back to seating area, but raise your hand if you've gone into a home, and especially if you're showing and there's nowhere to sit and it's a little awkward for your buyer. Raise your hand if that's ever happened to you, right?
I mean, and guys, it could just be a pair of chairs and a lamp. Have some place to sit down and do something.
There you go, a pair of chairs and a lamp. I mean, but it makes a big difference.
Well, and I know you residential realtors. I mean, you guys dream up crazy stuff all the time. You may have something you pull out of your house to show a house. It doesn't matter. As time goes by, you'll have people you can pull from. And a source like Canal is not hard to work with, not over the top expensive, and very community driven. Work with them.
Yes, and we have a really exciting program that they have that we'll have them talk about in a little bit. But tell us, as far as a designer, some of the trends that we're seeing. Because, colors, and especially with buyers and, even for people that are moving up or moving down, they're looking at the modern. And so what is trending right now? What colors are trending? What should we be looking towards in the next few months?
How funny. I'm still going to say warm colors are more important than gray, beige. Go to the Sherwin-Williams website. If you only look on the first 2 or 3 pages, the top 10 colors are there. Accessible beige all day long. Paint the ceilings white. Keep it simple. Don't overdo. There's all this wonderful, moody, color drenching with emerald green rooms, and they painted the trim and everything. That depends on the level of the neighborhood and the level of what you're selling. Know what you're doing. Design your space to the neighborhood and to the house. Be true to the house. If it's a beautiful French chateau, don't even think about Spanish colonial furniture in there. You're making a mistake. Don't follow the trend to the point of losing your identity of the home and the neighborhood.
Oh, that's really good. The same thing for us as people. When you're a trusted advisor, we have to stay authentic to ourselves. So
really do. And just, if you don't know what to do, then keep it simple. Don't do anything. Learn as you go. Learn your audience. Know your audience.
So you mentioned something important, or don't do anything. So what are some faux pas? We talked about some do's. What are some faux pas?
Too much funky colors. Painting a wall burgundy in a really clean, simple house. You're going to turn more people off than you're going to gather. If you end up doing a little paper or a little grass cloth on a wall, fine. Just keep it simple. If you're not good at picking colors, find someone to help you. I'm not going to ever be good at trust. I'm never going to know. I need an attorney, or when I come to a title, I need help. Do what you do best. Source the rest. Do what you're good at and what you're learn every day. When you get to a crossroads, get help.
Did somebody write that down in their index card? Do what you do best and source the rest. That is the motto. I love that. So Sherry, one of the things that you talked about is source the rest. So how do we work? How do we find a designer? How do we find the right people? What are the questions that we need to be asking?
There's just like a really good real estate agent, a really good realtor is in your neighborhood. She knows your neighborhood. She knows your church. She knows your school. That same person should have a handful of designers. If you don't, reach out. Well, we can help you source a designer in your area. But of course, people move all over the area, all over the country. Their designers go with them in many cases. But depending on, once again, what you're doing, what you're selling, who your audience is, keep it simple. And even if they just hire a designer for a few hours to lay out their house, from then on, they have a rapport. And it's Christmas. I need a new sofa. I need a pair of lamps. Just keep it with someone you can work with over and over.
That's awesome. And so if you don't know a designer, the more of a reason for you to go out and network.
You're welcome. You're welcome to ask. You're welcome to call.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. So, one of the things that one of the reasons that I asked Sherry to come as far as the design is, for that reason that we've all been through and walked through those homes, and we've opened those homes where we've thought to ourselves, this looks nothing like the pictures, right? She says yes, and she says, mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we want to talk about is keeping it real. There's AI. We use a lot of AI out there, but when is it a good time to use AI, and when is it not a good time to use AI for these rooms?
AI is wonderful. Just practice, learn. Get your feet wet with it. It takes a minute, but there's nothing like the real thing. And be careful with how much of your imagination you use, and just keep it simple. If you're, like I said, don't know what to do, don't overdo it. It's kind of like Coco Chanel. Take off the last thing you put on when you're walking out the door.
I love it.
Keep it simple.
That's wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for Sherry? Okay,
Yes,
we have a question in the back of the room. Let me grab one of these other microphones here. Thank you.
Hello. All right, there we go. So some of the older people that are now moving into condos, or
Yes, we got
they're showing their homes.
Yes.
They have furniture from 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
You have a new class of buyers, younger buyers that like the more streamlined, more minimalist. What would you say to them?
Well, you're going to have to be careful about the line you're crossing. And it's okay to say, hey, do you want to attract a whole new buyer for top dollar? We're going to have to make some changes. If you're happy to make concessions and you don't want to make another investment, be ready to make concessions.
There you go.
You kind of get what you put out there.
Yes.
And that's totally true. All of us are that way a little bit. Well, my house looks great and blah, 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 blah. Well, 20 years ago, it was awesome. Well, pretty is bad. Traditional is really bad. Pretty floral wallpaper, pretty bedrooms. Pretty is bad. Don't be afraid of pretty. It really is back at many, many levels. Transitional is still great, but I'm seeing pretty more. Beautiful. Maybe it's a gorgeous Asian urn or lamp, or thrifting is huge. You should have something maybe old and collected in your repertoire. It warms up the room immediately. It's not cold and sterile. IKEA's for college kids.
Canalys is for professionals.
What do you think is the most powerful element of home decor, in terms of what really captivates people?
Well, that's a pretty big question, because what captivates you is going to be different from what captivates me. I think you have to know your audience, and if you really have the perfect house for the perfect buyer, you might have to stage it a little. It's not a broad brush. What appeals to me, what appeals to you, is very different. In general appeal, things your eyes go to, people like pairs. Not a pair, but a pair of chairs, a pair of lamps, a pair of end tables. When you can make a room cohesive, do a couple of pairs. Put down a rug. There's no wall-to-wall carpet anymore. The room will echo, it will be cold, and it will even be hot. If you have to roll out a rug and two chairs, do it. The number one mistake with the rug in a room that's full of furniture is too small of a rug. If this is a postage stamp on an envelope, it's not going to work. If that rug fits in your entry hall, put it in the entry hall, not the den. Fair? I know I probably gave you a broad stroke, but
It was one point. I see. Everybody has to do.
they do. But if you're in doubt, be clean. If you're in doubt, be simple, classic. And honestly, right now you can really lean more traditional. Just saying. It's kind of more. It's bad.
When staging, I know that every realtor will have a different opinion, but you want your prospective buyer to see themselves in the space. So any personal effects, maybe your family vacation photo. Now small woods are all the rage, so everybody has their I know I have two in my living room of my family pictures. So, like, what do you suggest to take those down and replace that with something
Typically
else?
in real estate, you should not have personal imagery up, right? You should not. And might not have my diploma up, or if it's real personal and it's all about you, you don't want that for the public, right?
What would you replace it with if you were going to tell us to take down our family? Like, my living room, it's focal point. There are those two
This
photos.
kind of goes back to you and your realtor. You may have a target customer who is your peer. No problem, leave it. Or you may have a house that's been on the market for a year where you're going to have to kind of freshen that up. Fair? Any other questions? Design, Canales?
Any other questions for Sherry?
Okay, thank you guys.
Yes, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are getting ready to wrap up here, but one of the special things that we're doing is acknowledging our trusted advisors. We started, for those of you who were just joining us a little bit later, so we started this series about 7 weeks ago. This is the 7th week. And so the last 6 weeks, we actually did a series every morning from 10 to 12, and we talked about a different concept, and it was all around becoming a trusted advisor. And part of this is because my Homeownership Academy, we're dedicated to educating professionals and helping them to succeed at a high level. So if you attended our Trusted Advisor series, if you can go ahead and start making a line here. Be careful with this rug. If you want to go ahead and start making a line here so that we can give you your certificates. And I'm going to have each one of them just share just really quickly, like 30 seconds, a minute, on what they learned about becoming a trusted advisor and why it's so important. So while we're getting that ready, I'm going to hand the microphone. I think we've done these 2 rows, so I'm going to start here. And if you were just going to introduce your name, your company, and what you do. Not a long one, remember, 10 seconds, and just pass it. We want everybody to say something.
Everyone, yeah, there you go. My name is Jay, everyone. I work for Totality. I'm a data quality professional. I'm here because of the rippling effect. I know a friend who knows Daniel. So I'm trying to become a realtor. I just finished my classes in Champions, and then I'm gonna apply for lessons next month. Thank you.
My name is Michael Chavez. I do personal and professional development, and I help those individuals who have that fear of public speaking. And I have my own company. It's Conspire Goal Setters, and it's all about achieving your dreams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brett Bell. I'm with Prosperity Bank, and we do what banks do. But again, as far as the rippling effect, you don't have to be a customer to use me as a resource. You can call me up anytime. We can chat, ask questions, much like the relationship before the business, right? I attend these things, and because of the relationship with Rebecca, I was invited to come up and meet a lot of new people. So appreciate it.
My name is Gabriela Rodriguez. I am in the apartment leasing business, and I'm getting my real estate license, but I also do marketing on the side. That's how I know Rebecca. And I'm here to learn and grow.
Cherry Burnish, you already know me. My name is Marifer Myers, and I'm a real estate agent working in Tarrant County.
Samantha Torres. I am an insurance broker, home, auto, commercial, life insurance, and I am in Fort Worth.
My name is Misael Ramos. I got 1.5 years on the license, and I work in Garland.
My name is Oscar Rodriguez. I Mr. Connection. I like to do public relations with all the Latino community and work with different companies. Okay, thank you very much, Lupita, for inviting me.
Hello, my name is Rosa Mesa. I've been a real estate agent since 2015, so I'm here to serve the DFW community.
Hi, I'm Sal Villalobos. I am a founding member of Angel AI, a transactional language model that is giving all of the real estate agents the tools that the top 2% of real estate agents who are driving in 98% of the business free. And it's a multilingual, free credit repair, free tax prep, and it's just here to uplift 2 billion people around the world.
Rob Castro, CEO, Industrial Onsite Services. We service the industrial sector for manufacturing here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That's what we do. Thank you.
I'm Lupita Canales from Canales Furniture. Thank you for coming, everybody.
We're going to start with some. Okay, so thank you all. And as promised, we made sure that everybody had a connection here. Please make sure that you stay around afterwards and you make some connections, because I know that there was a couple more people that joined in after. So I'm really super excited to give. This is our first round of certificates of participation for My Homeownership Academy. I'm the COO of My Homeownership Academy. My business partner, Juan Alvarez, is in Florida. This is a national program that we're starting, and we piloted it here in DFW. So I'm super excited of the people that are here. There's a few more that weren't able to be here in person that they're going to get their certificates. But this for me was a dream that we started about 4 years ago, because my business partner and I decided that there wasn't enough programming out there for professionals that went beyond just the surface level information. There's surface level information, but then there's going deeper, and there's going deeper with connections. And so that's what My Homeownership Academy is all about. And so if you are professional and you want to connect with My Homeownership Academy and learn what it is to be a trusted advisor and plug into our community, please come and see me after. But I'm super excited to introduce you to these wonderful people, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and say something that you took away from this as I give you your certificate. So the first person I'm going to have you stand over here is Rebecca Shinez. So if you give her a round of applause.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, here we go. My name is Rebecca Chanes, real estate agent with eXp Realty. And what did I learn? Well, I got my real estate license fairly recently. My husband wants to purchase properties, leasing, so forth. So I got my license, and what I learned, was a lot, right? Because I'm just starting out. One of the things that I took away, of course, was how important community is. And that's huge with Rebecca, I know, and I can't wait to talk to some. If I can talk to all of you all, I will try to do my best to talk to all of you. But definitely the community aspect, and then Juan is not here. Yeah. So AI. Okay, I'm skeptical about AI. However, I got to learn how I can use it for good. Right? We want to use it for good, and so I got to learn that, and that was really important on how it could help me help my clients. Yeah, so that would be it.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have Daisy Reyes.
Hi, everybody.
And Daisy's learning for 2.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, as y'all can see, this big old belly, but I've been getting it, guys. So, I am new to real estate. I'm like 42 days in, and I've been going nonstop. I want to learn everything. But yesterday, we went to a thing called Riches and Niches. So, I have to pick something. So, I picked Resi Marshall. That's going to be my Niches and Riches. I wanted to tell you about that. But anyways, what I learned a lot. I learned a lot of different things. There is this specific program, it's a resource actually. So you learn a lot of different resources too, and it's pretty cool. But it's called credit.org, and they fix your credit for free. So in being a real estate agent, that's a big deal, because I even had a mortgage representative that sent me over to somebody, and they were like, well, it's not cheap to fix your credit. Well, sometimes you have people that are purchasing houses that don't have the funds for it, you know? So it's awesome to have those resources and say, well, it's going to take you about, 6 months to a year, but it's free. So it's pretty cool. Y'all should definitely join.
Thank you, Daisy. All right, our next certificate is for Terry Avila. So what's really cool about Terry, I just have to share this really quick. I had not known Terry, and she jumped into all of our Zoom calls because we did do it on Zoom. So we are going to do another series, and you can attend in person or on Zoom. And I kept seeing her on the little boxes, and she came to the last one. I was so excited to see her in person.
So jumping on to what Rebecca said was definitely community. I mean, I've been in the real estate industry for a long time. Real estate agent, 8-9 years now. And so community, that, and then the AI was just amazing because I've used it just to ask little questions or reply to my email, but to actually use it, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. Okay, and the last one is Gabe. I just met Gabe recently through this series as well. But what's cool about Gabe is that he's also for Learning for Two. Him and his daughter, Mija, stand up really quick. This is his daughter, and although she looks very professional, she's actually underage. So she's not yet licensed, but he's working on that.
Yeah, I'm working. So what it did, it helped me out was provide a lot of tools, but what it stood out to me the most, and it added more to what I'm doing now, is it helps and it gives you detail on strategies to build my business as a realtor. Now, again, I can go in details. It was a lot. So the strategies was very important. So it added more. I've been a realtor for 3 years, and I say I've done pretty well. But with these extra tools, it'll continue to grow. And then the other one was explaining on how to build the relationship, kind of like the ripple effect. I know it sounds like common sense, but when they're explaining to you in details and how it works and how you can apply it. I've met her 3 weeks, and just applying that, I already built that right away. So it's helped out a lot, and it was free. All we had to do was attend and get free information.
Thank you so much, Gabe. So the last certificate we're actually going to give is to Lupita Canales. So if you can welcome her. Lupita is the reason that we're here. She opened her doors not only to have us but she opened her heart. And one of the things that I've gotten to know about Lupita is her love for the community is enormous. And so Lupita, I present the certificate of appreciation and gratitude.
Thank you. For me es better Spanish. Estoy muy contenta por haber tomado estas clases y por haber participado con Rebeca, que es un gran trabajo que ha hecho con todos y un gran clases. Gracias, Rebeca, por ser partnership de Canales Furniture y gracias por estar aquí.
Gracias, Lupita. All right, everybody. I like to keep us on time, and so hopefully, is it 7:30 today? 7:31. I'm over by 1 minute, but I just want to thank you all again for coming out. Thank you to those who participated. They gave 12 hours of their time to invest in becoming a trusted advisor, and so this is really an accomplishment for all of you, and it's an accomplishment for all of you to come. Please take your cards. Write down, last one, this is the last homework assignment I'm giving you guys. Write down the name of somebody that you met here, whether it be a speaker or a guest, and connect with them in the next 7 days. Not just send them a text message, not just send them an email. Let's go to lunch. Let's have a Zoom meeting. Let me learn more about you. I want to tell you about me. So pick one person and put it on your index card. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you. Tabitha reminded me, turn in your work registration forms for the workshop. Tabitha's going to collect them. It's these registration forms, and make sure you guys give us your feedback. Oh, yes. I know. That's funny. We both crouched down for it too, like if we're both.